All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into the sharp, provocative, and honestly kind of brilliant ideas in Nassim Nicholas Taleb's book, The Bed of Procrustes. Now, this isn't your typical book. Think of it more like a collection of intellectual slaps in the face, all designed to wake you up from your comfortable ways of thinking.
So, to really get what this is all about, we got to start with the myth that gives the book its name. And trust me, it's a pretty brutal story from ancient Greece, but it's the absolute key to everything Taleb is talking about. So the story goes like this. There's this innkeeper, right? His name is Procrustes. He seems like a nice guy, offers you a meal, a bed for the night, but here's the catch. He has this special iron bed, and he insists you have to fit it perfectly. If you're a bit too short, well, he'll stretch you out on a rack. A little too tall, no problem. He'll just chop off your feet. Yeah, it's gruesome, but it's all about this twisted idea of forcing everyone and everything to fit one single standard, no matter how violent or unnatural it is.
Okay, so why are we talking about this ancient horror story? What does it have to do with us? Well, this is Taleb's whole point. He argues that we all do this. We all have our own Procrustean bids, these rigid ideas, these neat little boxes, and we try to cram the messy, complicated real world into them.
It's this habit we have of, shaving off the messy edges of reality just so it fits our nice, clean theories. And once you see it, you start seeing it everywhere, right? In economics, in big government plans, even in how we think about our own lives. We try to simplify things that are naturally complex, and that's where the damage happens, because we're ignoring all the important stuff that doesn't quite fit our model.
And this is where Taleb really turns the mirror on us. He says, look, the most dangerous Procrustean beds aren't out there somewhere. No, they're inside our own heads. The most rigid rules are the ones we force on our own thinking.
Think about it. We all build up these rules of thumb based on what's happened to us, right? And then we get kind of scared to break those rules, even when new information comes along that says maybe we should. It's like we've built our own little mental prison. And you know that feeling when something totally unexpected happens and our first reaction is to say, "Oh, I knew that was going to happen." That's us trying to force this new, surprising event back into our old, comfortable box, just so we don't have to admit we were wrong.
Okay, so let's dig into a few of Taleb's actual aphorisms. These are the little thought bombs designed to rattle your cage and make you question what you think you know.
Okay, let's unpack this one. It's a really interesting take on truth, isn't it? What Taleb is getting at here is that raw, unfiltered clarity can be, well, scary. It can be a threat to the comfortable stories a group tells itself to stick together.
It seems we often prefer a comforting story we can all agree on over a hard truth that might leave us feeling alone. So, what's more important to us? Fitting in or knowing the truth? I mean, history is just packed with people, right? Think Galileo, think Socrates. They weren't punished because they were wrong. They were punished because they were inconveniently right.
All right, this next one is a real gem, especially for the world we live in today. We're drowning in information, and we always assume that more is better. But Taleb, he flips that completely on its head.
So what's he mean by that? Well, for someone who's already a little bit overconfident, giving them more data doesn't make them wiser. It just gives them more stuff to build a bigger, more complicated, and still totally wrong picture of the world. They start seeing patterns that aren't really there, convince themselves they've cracked the code, bet the farm, and, well, you know the rest.
Okay, so we've looked inward. Now let's zoom out and look at some of Taleb's ideas that really take aim at the big systems, the social rules we just accept without thinking. And we're going to start with maybe his most famous one.
Yeah, he puts a monthly salary right up there with heroin. What's he saying? He's saying that a steady paycheck isn't really security, it's a trap. A really comfortable, subtle trap that makes you dependent, afraid to take risks, and basically turns you into a predictable little cog in a big machine.
And just to really twist the knife, he makes this incredibly provocative comparison. He says that even slaves in ancient Rome, as horrible as their situation was, didn't have to flatter the boss. They didn't have to pretend to like their master's stupid jokes. He's arguing that modern employment adds this whole extra layer of having to manage your boss's ego, which is a different kind of submission.
Okay, next up, he takes aim at something we all think is a good thing, being a good listener. We usually think that means you're empathetic, that you care, but Taleb comes at it from a completely different and kind of chilly angle.
Think about it this way. Maybe the reason someone can listen to all your problems without judging you is because they're not actually emotionally invested. They don't have a horse in the race. So that perfect objectivity, that feeling of being truly heard, maybe it's not empathy at all. Maybe it's just really, really good detachment. It's a wild thought. So after all these mental gymnastics, here's the big question, right? What do we do with all this? How do we take this kind of sharp, uncomfortable thinking and actually use it to break free from our own little prisons?
And this last thought from Taleb really makes you rethink something we all think we understand, what it means to be a hero. He's saying, hey, if someone had no other choice, are they really a hero? The real hero, in his view, is the person who could have walked away, who had an easy out, but chose not to take it. That's where true courage lies.
So in the end, the real takeaway from all this is a challenge, a question for you to take with you. What Procrustean bed are you forcing your own life into? Where are you chopping off bits of yourself to fit into some box society made for you? Or where are you stretching the truth just to make your worldview feel comfortable and safe? That's the uncomfortable but incredibly important question Taleb wants us all to ask ourselves.